right, guys. I want to welcome everybody to this hot seat webinar / over the shoulder. First, give me a 1 if you guys can hear me. See my screen. Do you see my screen? I'm an OMG way. I don't have anyone typing anything here. 1. Okay, there we go. We got right here. 1, 1. All right, got a couple of ones. Here we go.
Coming in now.
We got some action happening. Starting some movement here. Pretty cool. We got people still coming on and hopping on as we go. So, man, last week was just an awesome webinar. We got, again, right now, we got Mark's here again. Hey, Mark. How's it going?
What's up?
What's happening? All right. So,
What's up, Joe?
I know he's got another killer lesson plan. What's going on, Mark? So,
How you doing, Joe?
Good. Doing good. I'm excited to see the rest of what you're going to be showing us. Building out that SEO site. So it's going to be pretty good. And then also we have Dan is here. We know I've been flying solo last week. Dan's here. What's happening, Mr. Dan?
What's up, Joe? What's up, Mark? Hey, everyone.
Hey, Dan.
I'm back this week. I know last week was really good because I wasn't there. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. Mark kind of held it up for us, so it was pretty good. And then
Yeah,
I was
really good.
gonna do it. Yeah, it was good. It was good. So I was gonna do a hashtag gangs all here because Gregory is supposed to be on, but he ain't here. You know. So let's just do this. Let's just do a where is and then tag Gregory. So it's
Everyone should just send him a private message right now.
Right, send him a private message or tag him right here. So he's like his phone just blows up. So I don't know what he's doing, but so we'll give him a hashtag while waiting. So last week, right? If you guys weren't here, Mark went through and he actually went out, got a theme from Theme Forest, got it, put it on WordPress. He went through Theme Forest, showed everything, like what themes to get, what themes not to get, and then went into kind of setting it up. Now, if you guys weren't here last week, that's okay. He's going to go into the second part right now. You're going to definitely want to watch the replay. But, if you guys know, man, last week, a lot of people had some major breakthroughs. I had a lot of messages, private messages. People messaged me telling me how incredible that training was, how they had so many breakthroughs. That's why I did hashtag breakthrough for this webinar, because it connected a lot of dots. And this week and next week, we're going to keep going with that same theme, and you're going to get much more dots connected. And it's great that you guys are on here live, so you can ask some questions afterwards. And then we're going to do a really big question and answer at the end of the series. Hey!
He's here.
He made it.
Sorry, I was on the phone with the owner of one of the biggest nightclubs in Miami, closing them. So sorry about that.
Oh, you were closing that guy that we met when we were there?
Wait, I just made him an organizer so he can't talk. All right.
Okay. No, when we were in Miami, Gregory was talking to this guy at the nightclub, the owner, huge nightclub, one of the biggest in Miami, if not the biggest. And he said that he was about to be a potential SEO client.
Yep, I just finished closing them. So
Nice, that's awesome.
yeah.
All right, great. All right, well, we got everybody on. So we're gonna do this time is we're gonna kind of get right into the lesson. Okay, we're gonna just kind of get right into the lesson. But before we get into the lesson, let's give Mark. We got to get Mark ready, right? We gotta show him we really appreciate that he's here. So let's give Mark a hashtag. What kind of hashtag should we do for Mark? Anybody got any suggestions?
You're asking us?
Wow.
Hi, Mark. How about this? How about Mark?
That's Mark. Hashtag Magic Mark.
Hashtag Magic Mark. How about this? How about hashtag Mark breaking it down? I know it's kind of long, right?
As always. Why do you even bother asking us, Joe, if you're just going to not even...
You could
He was
also
like,
do.
oh, hey, Dan, you got any ideas? Oh, yeah, that one sucks. Let me do mine anyway.
You took too long. I already came up with it. All right, so then you could do either. Do them both, okay? Mark breaking it down or hashtag magic Mark. I kind
Way
of
to go, Joe.
There you go. You can do both of them, all right? Whoops. So let's get like 100 of those going here before we get Mark on. That way we kind of get them all worked up. Joe stinks. Oh, Gregory.
Oh, man.
See, every time someone puts something on the floor, I have to read it first. I know it's always Gregory. Yeah. So, all right. Let's all right, Mark, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's just do it. I'm gonna pass it over. I don't know, Dan, Gregory, you guys got anything to add before Mark?
You're not going to listen to it or take it into consideration anyway, so no.
I am listening. Yeah. You got some thin skin. I wouldn't have asked you, so all right.
You know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. So all right, let's get going here. I'm gonna make him the presenter, and
All right.
here we go. Take it away, Mark.
All right. So to kind of catch everybody up to speed, in case you weren't here last week or you forgot, we went over a few things like Joe mentioned. We picked out a good theme on Theme Forest. We installed. We activated it. We built a whole bunch of empty pages. We did some plugin activation, and we went through the theme options. So we are using this as a lab. The URL is omgwebdesign.us. It's a domain I bought last week, and it was completely blank when we started, and it's still pretty much blank, but we're going to fill it out today. So let's go back into the WordPress admin. I've already logged in here. I'll go to the dashboard so you can kind of get reoriented to where I'm at. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to glance at the site and see what I want done. So I've got this header that's coming along pretty well. Body's totally empty, and the footer is kind of default stuff that I'll change later. So let's go to the menu area and kind of do some stuff there. So if you've never built a WordPress menu, then you go to Appearances and go to Menus. And this is going to allow you to create the menu right here. Now, I don't have a menu yet, but it's defaulting to the pages I create here. So I want to control my menu. Sometimes in WordPress, you build extra pages that you don't want the world to see. For example, if you have a landing page you're running ads to, you're trying to rank, you might not want that in the main navigation there. So let's make our own navigation so we can control that. So here, I'm just going to call it main nav and click create menu. That's going to go out and take a second. And then it's going to allow me to add pages here. Here are all those the empty pages we built last week. So let's add these to the menu. And then here, I can just click and drag these around. This is going to change the order. So, home, contact us is in 1 and 2. So now contact us is last. So let me just kind of move these around. Normally I sort of put services second. That's naturally what I want people to go to. I kind of put the blog at the end. It really doesn't matter. It's personal preference. If for some reason you want to stack, if you want layered navigation where you have a hover over and it drops down and you can see subpages, you can simply do that by just dragging that over. That's going to make about a section under services. So let me drag that back out. Let me put contact us under about just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to click save. That saves my menu. Now down here, I need to tell it where I want that menu to show up. So I'm going to make that the Enfold main menu. I could also make it a secondary menu, which is another menu spot, and I could also put it in the footer. But this is the main nav on the top. That's where we want it. So let me save it again. And when I refresh on the home screen, it's going to mirror what I had. So I've got home, I've got services, I've got about. Now I have this drop down here, and I've got blog. Now I noticed as I hovered over about, it got kind of big. Seems kind of funky to me, so let me look here. So here, I have some options. So About Us became a mega menu, which I don't like, so I'm going to uncheck that. It goes back to page, which is how I want it, and this becomes page 2. So let me save, show you the difference. Refresh again, and now that's looking normal. So that's how I want it to be. Probably for my site, I want to move this back out to the main so I can send that to people so that it grabs their attention. So let me save this. We'll see the changes live on the site. And we've got a menu. Okay, great. So now I want to move on. I want to do some other header types of things. So a very common requirement for my websites and for my clients' websites are to put phone numbers in there. So let me show you how to add a phone number. So for this, I'm going to go to the Enfold area. This is where the theme options are listed. And I'm going to go to Header. And under Header, I'm going to go to Extra Elements. And I have some choices here. So here I have, do I want to show social icons? Sure, let's put those above the logo on the left. And I want to put a phone number. So on this drop-down menu, I'm going to choose Display in the top right bar. So I'll have social icons on the left, a phone number on the right, and then I can just type my phone number right here in this box, and it's going to show up. So let me refresh that. Social icons are on the page, and there's my phone number. It's a little small. We can style that later. I could also add, call us today, something like that. So it's just a kind of a free area where you can put different messaging there. Great place to put a phone number right there in the corner. So we've got a header. It looks pretty good. I might make some kind of design refinements later, but for the most part, I'm feeling confident about the header. So now we have this whole middle section here, which we have to do something with. This is where we're going to start laying out pages. And before I start laying out pages, the first thing I get is, how do I want this website to look? What is the client expecting? What am I expecting? What are some design elements or trends that I want to incorporate? So if you've heard the saying like great painters steal and master painters steal, or great painters borrow and master painters steal, or something like that, same thing's true with web designer. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to sit down and take on these creative challenges of, I'm going to do a pure website that's not influenced by anything. Because basically my goal is just to get these things out as quickly as possible. So I look on the internet for things that I like, for websites I can mimic, for design trends and elements and pieces that I can bring over. So the first thing I do when I have a client is I say, what websites do you like the look of? And they give me a list. And that list is going to help me make some choices. But for our example, we're building an agency site. So the first thing I did was I just went to Google, and I Googled things like marketing agency San Francisco. I look in major metropolitan areas where there are expensive websites that people might have spent upwards of $30,000 on, and I say, what can I borrow or steal from this website? So I did that this afternoon. I found a lot of terrible websites out there. But these were a few of the good ones. So this is a Moz landing page. Just came off Google Ads. It's very clean. I like the kind of the hues of the colors. Fairly simple. We've got some testimonials there. Got some icons. I thought it looked fine. Here's another one, RinkPay. What I liked about this website was I like this alternating content between these big pictures and then this text. I like kind of how that went back and forth for a little bit. I thought that was kind of sharp. This is kind of cool too. This was another Digital Third Coast. I loved how they brought all of the blues in through all of their design elements. That was really sharp. This one, this one's kind of busy here. I just kind of brought it up. I forget what the search was for this one, but it was some sort of SEO search that I'm sure that guy paid $25 for me to click on. Here's another one that I thought was kind of cool. Totally different style, but it has some neat stuff. So I search for websites I like, and I try to figure out how can I pay homage to that? How can I bring that stuff into my website? So if you've ever taken like an art class, my art teacher, she was always emphasizing that when you're kind of breaking something down, you start seeing it for the most basic of shapes. You see things, like the nose is a triangle and all that stuff. So enough art theory. Let's talk about that for web design. So really, when I look at a page, I start sort of breaking it down by elements. For example, this page. I've got some sort of like big header area here. I've got some big text, and then this is just like a four columns with icons in them. Then we have this, background that kind of breaks it up. We have, looks like 2 columns. This is probably about a third column. This is about 2/3 of a column. And right here, all I'm doing is just sort of breaking it down at its most basic level. What is this thing? How would I recreate this? Well, I would need a column here that has a picture in it. I would need a column here that has text in it. That's all I'm doing right now. Same thing here. They just flipped it. They moved the picture here, changed the background color. This is a slider. Some sort of testimonial. It's got some pictures here. We have some text there, and then we have a form. There's all kinds of other stuff going on, but I'm 100% confident we can make this website right now using the Infold theme that we're using, and just with rudimentary design skills, we could totally make this, no problem. So as I was sort of looking for something that I wanted to base the lesson on tonight, I decided to go with multiple elements that we're going to kind of pull in and out, and just sort of design. So let's start here, and let's design our homepage. So I'm going to go to Pages, All Pages. Here are all those dummy pages I created. I'm going to click Home, click the Edit. You can also click the words. It's going to bring me up to a WordPress page. In the very basic choice you have when you enter WordPress is you have a choice between working on visual, which is like working on Microsoft Word, or text, which is working with the code. That is a primary choice. I personally always work with text because I'm comfortable reading code and analyzing code. I also hate it whenever I'm typing something and like sometimes they're trying to guess the code for me, so they'll put in like some extra spacing if you've ever had that frustration point in WordPress. So I always go in text and I just kind of code stuff up. So, we could just start, HTML crazy. I don't want us to do that because not all of us know markup language. So what I want us to do is I want us to take a shortcut. I want us to forget this whole WordPress thing here. We'll use that at some point in our lives, but not tonight. I want us to click Advanced Layout Editor. And when we click on that, we're going to see some new options that aren't normal to WordPress. This is a visual layout builder for WordPress. There are other ones. There's a plugin called Visual Composer, which does this in a different fashion. It's a different UI, has a different look, but it does the same thing. And what this is going to let us do is going to let us lay out a page with minimal, if any, coding knowledge. And it's going to allow us to just sort of move things around, kind of like we're doing a puzzle. So let's start here. So we click the Advanced Layout Builder. This came up. So let's look at our inspiration site. I'm going to drag this over here between tabs. And we got this white background here, and we just have some text. So let's do something similar. So here are different columns. When I was talking about earlier, we needed columns. That comes from this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this color section. One design trend that has come across in the past couple of years is having these types of colors that go from edge to edge of the browser. Sometimes you see this with pictures. We saw it on the site had this green bar here at the bottom, right? It goes edge to edge. That's like the thing right now. So let's do that thing. So in this theme, that thing is called the color section. Now, we're kind of looking for similar look and feel to this site. So let's just keep it white. And then so we're going to have this big white background. Let's analyze what's going next. So now I have some text. So I'm going to look for something called text. Oh, here's a text block. That looks interesting to me. I'm going to put that in there. So I could probably do text block for all this, and then I need to do some sort of columns here to get these icons in there. So let me go back to my layout elements, and I'm going to drop in 4 columns to mimic the 4 icons we saw here. Then also, just from user experience, I know that if I don't put this text box in a 1-by-1 column, which means it spans the whole side, the padding is going to be off. The padding is just like the amount of space in between here. So if I don't do this, if I don't put it in a 1-by-1 column, the text will be way over here and look kind of funky. So I'm just going to copy this information here. This is just demo. Again, this is just us kind of making something. We're not, I would never do this, for a regular website. So here again, I've got, the choice between a visual and a text editor. And I'm just going to stay in text, but if you want to do visual, it's fine. So I'm just make this an H1. H1 is the predominant tag. If you've done some on-site SEO work, then you know H1 is important. But also H1 usually comes with a style. It's usually the biggest text on the page. So let me put that on an H1. And let me just kind of look at what else. They had it colored. I don't really care about that. Okay, they bolded this. So I could mark this up using HTML, the strong markup, or I could kind of do a hybrid. I could select that, and I'm going to do bold, and that marks it up for me. So that's kind of a cheat here. So then I'm going to go over to visual. It's going to render that for me. And then if I don't want to mark up each thing, I can just center it all right there by selecting it and centering it, and it'll provide the markup for me. So it just did some CSS here where it's styling it in the middle. So let's save this. And the great thing about WordPress is there's no penalty for constantly saving and viewing your website. So let's take a look how it looks. Hey, all right, that looks sharp already. We are in the right direction. So now, analyzing this page, looks like these are pictures, right? These are some images. So right now I'm just going to download the image. I would find my own icon set, before, but this is just obvious for demonstration purposes. So all I'm doing right now is just saving this. Saving these icons to use on our demonstration site. And then this is text. So this is a little check I do to see if something's a picture or text. So if you can highlight something with your mouse, then you know that it is text. So this is text, so I'm just going to type that up. So to recreate this, I just need to make a picture. So I'm going to go to Elements, I'm going to go to Image. I'm going to put an image here, do 4 here. Here's a little shortcut. I'm going to delete this column, and I'm going to lay out a column exactly how I want it. So I'm going to delete all these columns. So the first thing is I want to insert a picture. So I'm just going through the normal WordPress uploader, and let's do detailed reporting. That's fine. Full size here. I could do it smaller here, but we're going to do full size. We're going to insert it. Okay, I'm going to align it in the center. That looks all good to me. I don't want any hover effects or anything. So this is just a PNG file, transparent. That's what the checkerboard is. That's good for us. Put that there. Put some text here. Again, I'm just going to guess at how I want this styled. I'm going to come back and look at it. I'm going to guess, put this at an H3, and we're going to do reporting. I'm going to close my H3. So I open H3. So this is basic HTML markup. You open, you type some markup, then you type the text, and then you close it. W3 School is probably the best if you get stuck. Let's bring that up so you can see it. So if you ever have a question about markup, about CSS markup, styling, just search it here. It'll tell you. For example, if you're like, I'm not sure how to bold, just search it. And oftentimes they are the first thing that comes up. So, search is your friend here. I want that to be in the middle. That'll just kind of balance it out. So again, I could manually style that, but it's easy enough just to do that. So let's save. Again, I'm going to update the page just because I want to see what it looks like It's very much a visual thing. All right, cool. Hey, look at that. That's great. Our theme is green, so I'd probably look for some green icons. I might go and change the color on that to green. Let me show you that just so you know. So again, if you want to stay in here, you're just going to go down here, and you're going to pick your shaded green. Let's just call it that for now. We don't have to be perfect. It's just for example. Then here's a little trick I was going to show you earlier. If you click this, it clones it. So my layout is how I want it. Oops, too many. No problem. Just click the X. So now I can just click in here, and I can change the word. So SEO. I can come here, change the picture. I have to upload a new one. Okay, etc., etc. I'm not going to do all four because you get the picture. So let's save. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Here's our example site. Here's our site. Hey, look at us. We are professionals now. Okay, so one thing I want to show you kind of an alternative layout if you don't want this to be this big white header. Let's say you want to do an image background. You click on this little edit thing right here. And I'm going to go to section background. And I'm going to do insert image. And I went through and scoured the internet for some stuff I use already. So I've got that ready to go. This is a common thing I kind of like to use. Now here, if we kept it medium size, it's going to look really pixelated because we want to span the whole width of the screen. So if your browser is 1,500 pixels or larger, if it's medium, that's having to scale that up so much. So just do full screen. Insert. Okay. So that's what the picture is going to look like. I like it. And then maybe I'll do a little bit of an overlay to kind of darken that up because sometimes, well, actually, I need to brighten it up because my text is white. Maybe I'll try to white it out a little bit. And parallax is the effect where it's like the image scrolls as you scroll down. That's kind of trendy. I'm a big fan of fixed, especially in the header. And this is the anchor point for the image. So depending on what image you have, you may have a different anchor point because as this website resizes, the background image is going to change. That's one challenge of designing in a responsive environment. So we'll just do center, center, no repeat, that's fine. Let's update that. And we'll resave it. And we'll see what we've built. Something has gone wrong, right? Something has gone amiss. So what's going on here? What did we do wrong? So let's check here. I'm going to check on my options and make sure my page is scaling at 100% width. So I'm going to go no sidebar just to make sure. Update that. That's not going to fix it because I don't have a sidebar. So we've encountered our first design challenge. So what's going on? So I'm just going to click in here. I'm just going to kind of see what my options are. Okay, so maybe there is some sort of scaling because the problem is the image is shorter than my browser. So let me see if there's some sort of scaling. Oh, there is. So I can stretch this to fit, or I can scale this to fit. I'm going to do stretch. That's my preferred way. I'm going to hit update. So oftentimes when you come across a problem, the slider's going too fast, something like that, if you just kind of look in the options, usually there's something that's going to control that. And when in doubt, Google is your friend, say, infold theme, picture is not the full width. And usually you can find someone else that had that problem. You're not the first one to have it. So here it is. I'm not in love with it just because the text isn't as visible as it should be. It's kind of getting washed out a little bit because this background's a little bit busier. So I'm going to fix that really quick. So here, I'm going to change my color. I'm going to go dark color. And then I'm going to do an overlay. Let me go here. See this. And then I'm going to change this text to white. So I'm going to select this. Just do it real quick. See if that works. Okay, I can't see the text anymore. That's a good thing. And let's see what that did. Okay, cool. It pops more. It's probably not 100% perfect, but good enough for us now. So, okay, we analyzed a header that we liked, and we just kind of picked it apart and we broke it down into its core elements and we rebuilt it. So you can do that on any site. You go out there, you see anything, you see a slider, you see any element. You just kind of have to break it down to its core. Same thing here. This is their logo. This looks like a column to me. This looks like a half column here with a picture. This looks like a half column on the right. Text, button. Like we broke it down. Make it blue. It'll look like this. Steal this image if you have to. Don't steal it. Just make your own. Purchase it as stock. Just kidding. Okay, so let's go on. So now I'm going to jump over to this side and kind of steal some stuff here. Again, I'm going to break this down here. We've got this information, we have this. This is just a centered text that's really bold. And then we have this alternating columns. So let's lay this out very quickly. So I'm going to make a new color section. Put this down here. And then I'm going to do a 1x1 because we know we've got some padding issues if we don't. And I'm going to bring a text box down because I need some text. Right? It's really kind of intuitive. So, here's this bold headline. The fonts are two different sizes. No problem. If you visually paste this in, you can usually get good things to happen. Sometimes it'll steal some of the code that's kind of off, but for demonstration purposes, it's working fine right now. And then I'm just going to center that up. Okay, then the next thing that made this site pop was this back and forth. So two half columns. So let me add two half columns. Okay, and then I'm just going to clone this half column instead of having to drag it all the way down. One gets a big picture, so that's media. And one gets a text box. I've got a text box here, so I'm going to clone that. And then I'm going to drag it over here, right? Saves me from having to go up here all the time. So now I've got my two boxes. Again, just save the image. Just call it something meaningless. And we're just uploading off a picture just like we would normally. I'm going full size on it. So this is just a photo. Just upload it like a normal WordPress photo. Here, I'm going to get some text again. Copy this. I'm going to delete everything. I just did Apple A, Control A if you're on Windows. Paste that in again. Okay? I went to text, just kind of see the code, make sure it's all valid markup. It's totally valid markup. Let's save that. We're going to refresh. Looks pretty good, right? Looks very similar to their site. They have a link. Launch your campaign. Let's just add a button. Okay? That's something kind of cool we haven't done yet. So I'm going to go up here, looking for button. Here's the button. I'm just going to drag it down here. I'm going to click on it, learn more, set manually. I just drop in a link where I want to go. I'm going to let's try large. These are different sizes. The button, I probably want that on the left because I want it I think I want it to look like it's hugging this invisible wall here. I might change that later, so let's do a line left. If I want to do like an icon, sometimes I do that. Put the icon on the right. Maybe we could find like some arrows. That's a real common thing for me to do. So put kind of those arrows there. Just a little bit of fancy style. Okay. If I want to change the colors, I can here. Right now, I'm just going to roll with the theme colors. If not, I could do custom colors, and I'd put that stuff in there. But let's just do theme colors and see what it looks like. Okay, so save. Let's update it. Okay. It's not, not the best looking button in the world. I'd probably change the color a little bit, but looks good enough now, right? Looks good enough for us. So let's say we want to kind of go back and forth on those. We liked how, they had this alternating layout. So we just have to flip flop these. So I'm going to clone this by clicking the little thing that looks like a duplicator. I'm going to clone this one, drag this one up here, and then I need to drag this one up here. And it's going to flip flop the order. Grab a new image, grab some new text. We've got that. We'll do it one more time to mimic the layout of the other one. All right, so now we have that alternating content. Okay, let's look at our inspiration site. Okay, so that's kind of cool. They've got this. Okay, let's kind of break this down. This is, it's going wide here. And this is an image, and then it's just some text and a button. That's all that is. So, again, we're going to go up here. We're going to get a new color section. And we need to do the background thing. Again, we need to add an image as the background. So I'm going to insert an image. And make sure you do full size. Put that thing in there. Okay, cool. So I've got the background. And now I need to add some text. So I'm going to clone the text. So let's just keep this launcher SEO campaign. Let's pretend that's the text we want here. We'll center that. It's on that kind of lime green background, so let's change this to white so it shows up. And then we need to clone our button. We need to bring this down here. Now this one I want in the middle, so I'm going to center it. And I want an extra large because I need a big button because that one's kind of small. And let's see if do we have a transparent? Oh, we do have a transparent option. Okay, so some people call these ghost buttons. This is another trend, right? These ghost buttons, I think they look kind of cool. So let's try light transparent and see what happens. So let's save it. And we'll refresh. Okay, right? Okay, not bad. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty close. I think the main thing we should fix here is that we kind of want a little bit more of the image to show up, and we kind of want a little bit of extra padding. So I'll show you how to fix that. So I just don't like the way it's like so tight there. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to click on the background that I'm editing. So I'm going to click Section Background. And this one, let's do parallax because that's what the other company had. So we'll save that. Then I need to basically add some padding. So I'm going to go up here, looking for something called padding or white space or blank space. Different themes call it different stuff. So let's just look here. Oh, separator white space right there. Okay, so I'm going to drag this down here all the way to the bottom of the page. Put this here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put this above the text. If I can drag it right. Okay, so now it's going above the text. That's going to put some extra space here, and I'm going to put one below the button. So we get like this sandwich of white space. So it's this little tiny thing here. I'm going to click the edit icon. It's the pencil. And I'm going to do custom. Okay, I don't want a border. I don't want any icons. I don't want any of that stuff. Okay, so margin. That's like the amount it's going to sandwich. So let's try 30 on the top and 30 on the bottom. I'm going to clone that. I'm going to drag it after the button too. Okay, so let's look and see what it looks like now. All right, cool. Hey, good enough, right? I'd probably put a little bit extra white space there. I would just duplicate that thing I just showed you, the white space. I would put it in between these and get a little more space there. But this looks pretty good, right? So we've laid it half an hour, I think we've laid out the homepage. Now, obviously, we stole content and we stole pictures. We violated copyright. We don't want to do that. This is just for demonstration purposes. I'll buy my stock. I buy all my stock from iStock. That's my go-to preference there. So I would have to purchase these icons. I would have to write unique content. But I just borrowed some stuff from people's website just for demonstration purposes so we can see the layout. You cannot deliver this to a client because they will get a letter in the mail from, there's companies who, their job is to sue people for stealing images. They have algorithms and computers. I've seen it 100 times. Can't do that. Don't do that. Buy your stuff from stock, deliver to the client. Client pays for it. I always put in my contracts incidental expenses, so they purchase all the stock. It's theirs to own. I just put it on the website. So, this, if you're fretting over a website, if you're gnashing your teeth, if you're just stuck, and you fool around with different themes, and even if you take your time, even if you learn at your own pace, you can build this or something similar to this, I know, in 2 hours. Just slow down the tutorials, just slow down the campaign, just slow it, and just watch it again, and you can lay this homepage out. It's all about just seeing what's out there and dissecting the elements.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, what's up, Joe?
Hey, man, I think that's amazing. Like, that because you've only been working on this homepage here really for like a half an hour, and it's like we have a beautiful homepage website. I mean, that's amazing. I want to see if people are still watching this, if they're pretty amazed by it. Guys, go on Facebook and let me know if you're following along. I know there's a couple of questions here. We'll get to that at the end. But like, if you guys are having some aha moments or some breakthrough moments, or just relieved that we're going to be having this training in, put it right in the Facebook group right here. That way Mark could read it and he knows. Because I think, man, Mark, I mean, for me, when I'm doing websites myself, right, it's always a struggle. And especially like with that director's cut theme, it was a nightmare. I mean, this laid it out. I mean, so simple. I don't know if Dan and Gregory are still here. You guys on?
Yeah, I'm very impressed with that. I mean, obviously Mark has an eye for this stuff, so he makes it look easy, but I think the way you presented it made it, pretty straightforward as well.
Yeah, especially for people who aren't keen to doing this or not used to doing it. I think it's simply amazing. Yeah, Mark. So we got a lot of people saying thanks. It helped clear up a lot of stuff. A lot of value being added here. Look, Johnny Chen says, Mark, thank you for doing this. I'm desperately needing to redo my sites, and even in the question box, I got a lot of people loving this stuff, Mark. So
okay, awesome, yeah.
Let you know. So
great, awesome, yeah. So maybe we'll go for about 15 more minutes, Joe. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, what do you guys want? You guys want them to go 15 more minutes? Put it into Facebook, Just give me a hashtag, let's do it or something, or else maybe we'll just end now if we don't got anybody that wants to go on. Do it. Darcy said 15 more with she put in 5 apostrophes. So, Jim Crane's asking, can you make multiple interpage layouts? I think we're going to get to that, right, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely, sure. So,
all right. All right. Go ahead, Mark. I'll shut up.
I mean, really, when you make the leap in your mind of, I just have to see what's out there and break it down into little chunks that I can do. I know how to do text. I know how to add a photo. I know how to do columns now. It really sort of unlocks your thinking about the way websites are structured. Let's just look at this one. I like the way this website looks. The thing that's kicking this website's butt is it has this cool picture, right? As this, this is just a Photoshop. If you don't know Photoshop, pay some guy $5 to make this photo for you. Take a stock image, take a stock picture from iStock. This is your background image, just like we laid out a background image here. Same thing. This is a text box on top of it. This is, these, I don't know if this rotates or whatever as you reload the page. Maybe we'll check it. I mean, it was cool if this was some sort of JavaScript thing. Okay, so it's moving around or whatever. You could replace that with just a static picture, you know? If all you saw was this, everyone would be like, wow, that looks great. This is just a color box, like I showed you. This is a form. We'll talk about that in a second. You know, this is a background image, like we showed before. So breaking things down in just its basic form really kind of helps propel you forward. So let's talk about one of the most common things people need to know, and that's the contact page. So everyone wants new leads in, so we need a way for them to contact us. So let's make a contact page. Now, in order to make a contact page, I know I'm going to need a contact form. So I want to show you how to make a form. I am using right now Gravity Forms. I am going to pause the webinar while I enter my license code. 1 second, guys. Not that I don't want to give Gravity Forms away to everyone, but I don't think the developer would appreciate that. Okay. All right, I'm back. So I'm going to create a form. And I'm going to call it Contact Us because I just want to be very upfront about what it is. I am now in the contact form builder. If you're using Contact Form 7, which is the free version, it doesn't have this WYSIWYG editor. It's harder to use, frankly. I was just troubleshooting with someone from OMG today why their Contact Form 7 broke. Gravity Forms, I think, is $25. It's well worth its weight in gold just because you don't have to spend an hour trying to figure it out. You can build all the forms you need in 5 minutes. So let me show you how to do it. So this is just them sort of giving you a tutorial on how to do it. Just ignore this right here. You're just looking at the right side of the page. On the right side of the page, we have a thing called standard fields, single text box, paragraph, multi-select, drop-down. These are all just types of fields you can have on a form. But for the most part, I'm going to work with advanced fields. It's called advanced. I don't know why, because it's very simple. So I'm just going to click name. It's going to put a name box over here. I'm going to put email address because I want to get their name, email address. Maybe I want their phone number. All I'm doing is clicking, and it's coming up here. Now, maybe I want to add a message, so they can type and ask a question. For that, I'm going to have to go back to standard fields, and I'm just going to do a paragraph. The difference between a paragraph and a single line of text is just the amount of information someone can enter the form. So if they want to ask me some questions or tell me about their business, that makes sense for a paragraph. If I want to ask them, what's the name of their oldest child, single line for that stuff. So that's sort of the difference here. So I've laid it out. Here are my fields. I'm almost there. I'm keep name the same, keep email there. Maybe I'll make email required. So I just clicked on it. It opens up. I'm going to click required. Puts a little asterisk by it. Put there, let's do requirement on the phone. That's fine. If I'm international, I can switch that. So it changes the way the phone looks. And for here, I'm just going to type in, please leave your message or whatever you want there. And that's it, right? I've got my form. I clicked update. That's the same thing as save. Okay, so it's saved. Now to make sure this thing works, I'm going to go to notifications because I want to notify when this comes in. So I'm going to click edit. This is going to the admin email. The admin email is down here under general, maybe. Yes. Okay, so here's email address. That is the admin email. So that's where the form is going to go to. If I don't want to go there, I can type my email address here. Mark@markryancreative.com. That's me. So it's going here now. That's it, right? Very simple, straightforward stuff. So I'm not going to save this because I deleted some things by accident. But that's it. Confirmation. This is the confirmation is what they get, what they see. Notification is what you see. So right now, what will happen is it'll say, "Thanks for contacting us. We will get in touch with you shortly." That's fine for me. If I want to change it, I'm just going to click edit. Very straightforward, right? Thank you for this is just a field. I can type whatever I want here. If instead of going a message that pops up, I want to send it to a thank you page, I click page and I select my thank you page. If I want to redirect them to a different URL, I can send them offsite. All kinds of things can happen. That would be here. But let's just keep it text, very basic stuff. So we've got our contact form. Let's put it on our contact page. So I'm going to go to all pages. I'm going to go to contact us. And we can get as fancy with this layout or as simple this layout as we want. Again, click Advanced Editor. That's where the secret sauce is for us. We'll bring down a color section. We'll split this in half. I'll put probably my contact details here and the contact form here. So that's 2 text boxes. One here, clone it, bring this one here. I'm going to click here to put my form in. And click text, just because that's how I roll. H2. And I know I want to H2 because I've just done it so many times. Contact form. Close my H2. Visual. Looks good. I know I can do it a couple of ways. I can create a new text box, which is what I'm going to do. But I can also put it in the same text box and just hit return. And then I'm going to go here and click Add Form. It's not, this is not complicated stuff. So I'm going to choose the form. It's the contact form I made. I'm going to check these things off because I put this title here. So I'm going to insert form. This is a short code. A short code is basically a thing WordPress uses to put a whole bunch to just kind of deploy code very quickly. Short codes allow you to just kind of do some custom styles very quickly. So it's going to put a form out there. It's going to put that gravity form right there. So I did it that way. Alternatively, which probably what I would do normally, is I put the title here and then put the form here. It doesn't really matter. Click here. So just for balance, for symmetry. OG Web Design. So I'm going to put the name of the company there. I'm at the phone, this type of thing. Email. I could put the address, whatever kind of stuff you want to put there. So let's save it. And let's see how this thing renders. Okay, cool. Look at this. We now have a business name. We could throw a map in there. We have a contact form that's ready to go. Totally ready to go. Took us 5 seconds to build it. Let me show you. Let's add a Google Map. We can do that. I think this has a built-in Google Maps thing. Check the media. Yeah. Okay. So it has this built-in Google Maps thing. Okay. So it gives us this kind of warning message that it's going to fill up the container, which is totally fine. And you just kind of put your address in. It's going to go out. Maybe. Okay, it looks like something's kind of funky here. It's not fetching my coordinates, but let's just see what kind of happens here. Okay, and the plugin isn't playing right with us, so I'll show you what I do if something like that happened. I'd go to Maps. Okay, so basically what I do is I'll search for the business. Okay, so we've got this here. I'm just do a screenshot, right? Very simple stuff. I'm just do a screenshot, and I could zoom in if I want. If I want to get a little bit more street level going. It's sort of a personal preference at this point. I just screenshotted a map. I'm just going to put that as a picture, right? So just a little hack that got me around that. If I want to troubleshoot that little plug-in later, that's totally fine. But, for now, I just want to get the site going. So I put my screenshot on there. And, another cool thing, we all love Google so much, but Bing Maps has a different kind of interface. You can do some really cool stuff there, so that would also be a great alternative. This is going to, just from seeing this, I might overpower the page, but that's something I could kind of fix later if I want. Okay, it's okay. It's not, we're not winning any design awards with this maps thing here. I probably need to zoom in and kind of do a little pin marker on the business, but just for demonstration purposes, it's good. Okay, so we are about at the hour mark. What I would continue to do to build the site out is I'm just going to lay out a service page. I'm just going to lay an about page and do some blogs. So I might do that on my own this week, just so we can kind of get to the next part of web design. But, in an hour, we went from, 0 to warp speed 8, very quickly. So that's how easy it is to work with this thing.
Wow, Mark, that was great. The other thing with the map too is you could probably just put an embed code in there too if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get an embed code, but so that's fantastic, man. So that's it. And then Mark, there's a couple of people asking. So, and maybe we can do something like this next week or something, or let me know. But sometimes when they have the My City SEO site. And even I'll do it with lead gen, where you want the inner page to be like look like the home page.
Yes.
Let's say you have Chicago. Is that possible with this theme?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a plugin I would recommend installing. So we're just going to add new. We're going to look for. We want to basically clone the homepage. So I think it's called duplicate posts. There's a whole bunch of plugins that do the same thing. And so here I just look for usually the number of installs. That's usually a good indicator of how quality a plugin is. So I'm going to install this duplicate post contact. Now it says post. I understand that posts and pages are the same thing in WordPress. So now I can go to all pages. So I've got the home page. I love the way it looks. I'm going to clone it. It's going to give me another version that's a draft. I'm going to click Edit. I'm going to call this, St. Louis SEO. Make sure my, titles are my URL structure is the way I want it to be. And I would go through, I would do my on-page optimization emphasizing St. Louis. Click Publish. And I've got a duplicate copy of the homepage, which I can brand for St. Louis. So once you have the layout how you want it to be, it's very easy to clone something and then do your homepage again.
Oh, great, man! That was even faster than I thought. I thought we'd have to do it next week or something with that plugin. That's great. Yeah. So, all right, great guys. Well, let's give. John Chen says, "Oh my God, LOL." So yeah, let's give Mark a big thank you for this one. Now, right? Jessica says, "Wow, so much easier than Director's Cut." Thank you, Mark. Debbie says she's going to watch a replay. Yeah, so a lot of people are loving this. Now, guys, we're not going to go for 2 hours today because I'm actually moving. And as soon as this webinar is over, I'm packing up this computer. So I'm like, but what we can do is we could probably hit a few questions for about 30 minutes. Let me see what these guys say. What do you think, Dan? That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that was awesome, Mark. I think everyone really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it looked like people are loving it. All right, so maybe we can do, Mark, is hit a couple of these questions in the question box. You know what? I'll just leave the screen for you. Oh, you're there, Gregory. Hey, Gregory. That's pretty cool, huh?
It's really cool, and just like someone else said, it's much, much better than Director's Cut. Plus, they got to see Mark, who's obviously a genius at web design, do it from beginning to end. So it's really, really cool.
I mean, Gregory, when you first started, were you trying that Director's Cut theme, or
No, Director's Cut. No, Director's Cut theme didn't exist when I first started. Luckily, I knew some web design, so that kind of helped me at the beginning. But it was pretty hard work. I mean, similar to what Mark did, I knew about Theme Forest, so I just grabbed Avada and kind of worked based off of that. But I've looked at the Director's Cut one, and it can be pretty confusing the way everything's broken down there. So it's a good thing he went in and kind of showed everyone how to do it this way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wish I had this when I first started. And the thing is just like Gregory said, it's like you're watching somebody who knows what they're doing. Like sometimes people try to teach web design. And they're not web designers, and so you walk away more confused. But Mark is web designer, so it makes it it just makes it that much easy and gives a lot of clarity. So let's see, let's hit some questions here. Let's see. All right, so Danny Garcia is asking, for the other themes, would you recommend a visual composer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of it just because you don't have to lay out your columns in the old-fashioned way with CSS. So it's good. It's a little bit, if this visual composer, this style is a 10. That one's like an 8.5. It's very good, just slightly different place to look for the different buttons and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
All right, great. Let's see. AJ asks, does the code slow the site down at all? How secure?
Yeah, okay, so I'm in a debate with some very nerdy people who are, their big thing is, when you use these, stuff, it takes a little bit longer to render the page. I've argued with them, forever about that. It's sort of a geek fight, but I would say there's a lot lower hanging fruit than ripping out your Visual Composer and just hard coding in HTML, because at the end of the day, this is rendering HTML. So if site speed is an issue, I would look at 100 other things before I would say, oh man, the problem is my website is using Visual Composer. So if you're trying to go from 2 seconds to 1 second, this could be part of your solution. But if you're going from 12 seconds to 2 seconds, it's definitely not part of the problem.
All right. Let's see. So someone's asking if we can export what we build on a website if we want to sell the same website to another client.
Yeah, we should probably cover that in our training. I use a plugin called Duplicator. It makes it extremely easy to clone and deploy your entire WordPress site. So you build something, you can deploy it using this Duplicator plugin. It does all the database work for you. It's very easy to use. Unfortunately, it doesn't work 100% of the time. It works probably 95% of the time. The other 5% of the time is usually because the person's using GoDaddy and the script times out. But yes, it's definitely possible. That's probably its own separate thing because that is a valuable training that I've had tons of people ask me about. So we can either cover it live on the hot seat, or we could probably just do a screen recording, and I'll show you on my own time of how to do that.
What about Backup Buddy? You ever use Backup Buddy?
I did use Backup Buddy. A few years ago, I was using Backup Buddy extensively. I think it's great. It was just there's a cost with it, whereas Duplicators does exactly what Backup Buddy does for free. So
yeah, I've used both of them. Now, what about this Avada theme? Since you pay for it, right?
Yes.
If you do a duplicator, will they track that, or you got to rebuy it, or will you get in trouble?
I know they can track it. They definitely track it. Like they can see all the deployments you have. So like if you were like, hey, I've got this website, just clone it, launch it on the client's website, and then go buy another copy on ThemeForest and just keep buying licenses.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Both those I've used Duplicate. That's a great plugin. Here's a question I don't know if you get the answer to, Mark. It's from Jess Robinson. She says, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but I'm still not getting notifications from the Gravity form. I changed the to and from email address in case it was triggering spam, but I'm still not getting a notification email. Nothing in my spam. Any ideas what else I can do? Thanks, guys. I'm loving this.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is the great thing about Gravity Forms is it has a built-in. It saves the people that fill it out. It saves the fill outs to the database, so you automatically have the information. So the first step is just breathe a little bit easier that you still are getting the captures even if they're not getting to your email address. If you use Contact Form 7, you have to install another plugin so that it captures it to a database. So we're good there. Probably the next thing I would do is I would look at replacing the way WordPress sends out mail, and I would look at changing it to some SFTP. It's not like too hard, but it's a little bit more. If you're not comfortable like configuring mail clients and stuff like that, it can be a challenge. But there's a bunch of free plugins on WordPress that does it. I would start there. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, I'd probably hire somebody off Upwork. It'd probably cost you less than $5 to get somebody to come in there and change out the way the mail system is operating.
Yeah, I think that happened to me before with my host, and I actually put in a Gmail account and then forwarded that Gmail account. It seemed to work. Like I was having some kind of. Didn't we talk about that last week? There was like a problem with the host sometimes.
Yes, yeah. That's like a real common thing is that before, back in the day, you could put basically whatever email address you wanted to in the forms and everything was fine, but they started kind of getting a little bit more stringent upon that. So oftentimes, so what I do, so this is it here. So I do the from email to be the admin email, and I do the send email to be like my personal email, and that usually works. It just has to be two different email addresses here usually, and if this is the same address that's in the WordPress settings, then that's you.
All right, cool. All right, so where does a duplicate page show up after you clone it? Whatever page you clone.
It shows up right below. It shows up right below it. So if I duplicate this, it'll say home again, and it'll say I forget the exact nomenclature, but I'll just duplicate it again. Oh, it says draft, right? So there it is right there. That's the one I cloned. It says draft.
Right. All right. So all right. So Karen wants to know if we showed how to add social links to the home page. I don't think so. You didn't show that, did you, Mark? The social.
I showed them how to put there. I can show you real quick on how to. So they're there because we checked that off in the header. We said we wanted social links there. So you just go to social profiles and then you put in your URLs. Now that'll connect you. If you want another one, just click the plus sign.
There you go. Oh yeah, it's right there. And I think we covered that last week, didn't we? Yeah, we did that last week.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
All right. And then hosting, we went over that last week too. Catch that replay. Mark kind of went into that in detail. Okay, so Jess says she tried Gmail. She'll probably just hire somebody to take a look at it. Danny says, if you see an image online that you like, is there an easy way to find it so we can buy the license for it?
Yeah, Google image search. Usually, if you're looking for it. Sometimes you can look at the name of the file, and sometimes people don't change it from the default stock photo. You can find it that way. Another kind of cool. So like, I'm in Chrome. If you right-click on something and do inspect, it allows you to look at the code. And so here it's showing you where the file's located. So there, there's the file right there. You could do a Google image search on that right there.
Right. And it's Google image search. You can also go to Google and upload the image. But it actually finds the image. Like, it's not looking at... So it actually searches that image, wherever that image is, on the internet. Like, it doesn't look at... I don't know. Like, I've taken screenshots, like actual just screenshots of pictures and run it through there. And it's shown up... where similar photos are.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good feature. All right. What would you recommend to move a non-WordPress site to a WordPress site?
For something like that, you need somebody to code that thing up. Basically, you need to create a new theme from scratch, and you're gonna have to hire that out. That's it's just a lot of coding involved with that type of stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely hire that out.
Yeah.
Sure. What's that, Gregory?
You could also, if it's HTML, it doesn't work all the time, but I use this service a lot for like when I'm doing Wayback restorations. It's a HTML to WordPress.io. It's like a drag and drop. It works like 70% of the time, but pretty much you'll drag and drop like your zip file, and like I said, 70% of the time they'll convert it to WordPress for you just by dragging and dropping it. It's pretty cheap.
Yeah. All right. Cool. And what was that again, Gregory?
It's all one word, so it's HTML to WordPress.io.
All right. I put it in the question box there. All right. Cool. Thanks. And I think that kind of then one other Imelda asked, how do we do multiple pages like Content Grammar? We showed that already. There's a plugin. So if you missed that, just catch on the replay. And guys, that's about it. I know we kind of went light on the Q&A, but I think we hit all the ones in the question box. And then next week we're going to do a pretty long one, and when we wrap up the series, we'll hit all your questions. And David will put this replay up right away. He can download right from GoToWebinar, so it'll be up real fast. And so, that's about it. I got it. So, Mark, I want to thank you again for coming on. It's been just awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. No, this was a great lesson, man. This one's going to go... This is definitely one that I think people are going to be watching for years to come. Because it's so straightforward. So, and then, like always, I want to thank Dan and Mr. Gregory for coming on. Even though it was
all Mark today. Usually it's me and Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did nothing.
Usually it's Dan and Gregory running the show, but this time
exactly.
Mark.
Joe's just a standby.
I just stand by. I just turn it on and off. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So anyway, all right. Yes. Yeah. Someone's got to be the good-looking one in that group.
That's why you have me and Dan on.
That's right. Yeah. To make me look good. But anyway, so with that, we're going to wrap it up. And I want to thank everyone again for taking the time out of their day for coming on and listening to us. I want to thank, like always, Gregory and Dan. Give them a big thank you for coming out of their day, coming on, and a big thank you to Mark. And we'll see you next week.
All right. See you guys.
See you. Night, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. That was awesome.